I recently returned to my parents' house for work.
When I got there, I found the home Wi-Fi was wide open and leaking data. This is unacceptable, I thought, so I fixed it for them. The next day around lunchtime, someone started repeatedly buzzing my family's intercom. Curious, I answered, only to find a woman I had never seen before. Upon hearing Liam's mother's story, she complained,
I used to be able to play on my PSP here, but now I can't. And my 5-year-old child is struggling.
I wondered if she even understood what she was saying. Annoyed, I responded to everything she said with, "Oh, is that so?"
Then she snapped, I will have my husband formally protest later, and left.
I wanted to protest myself, but held back, looking forward to her official complaint. But it never came that day. The next day, having forgotten the incident, the formal complaint arrived.
When I was waiting yesterday, I joked,
We're busy unlike you. She retorted.
Then I heard the formal complaint. It was about how inconvenient it had become since they had to go further away because of what I had done to the Wi-Fi. What are you thinking about the cost of gas? Of course I wasn't thinking anything about it. Aren't you terrified that small children might wander off alone? Apologize and reconnect the Wi-Fi now. She really said that. You're part of the boomerang generation, how embarrassing. I'm on a transfer. If it's a son-in-law you want, he'll be here next year. My husband graduated from college and holds a proper corporate position. That's what sets us apart, she declared. Her husband, Mr. Position, just crossed his arms and glared. I didn't want to let them in, so I guarded the entrance, only to be scolded.
Normally, you would apologize, invite them in, and offer coffee and something from the boomerang generation. That's common sense.
When I asked the husband, "What do you really think?" he said,
My wife's words are quite unreasonable. When I told them it was unauthorized access, they retorted, What about the TV? You're accessing that freely, aren't you? Is that illegal?
I couldn't help but feel a bit sorry for them. Well, whatever they might say, I told them that I had the phone company make it so their calls couldn't get through anymore. I lied to get them to leave. I didn't ask for a boomerang generation, so when I handed them some salty crackers saying, "Sorry, you must have been hungry," they threw them on the ground. They told everyone they'd come back, so I'm thinking of buying some potato chips and waiting for them. And after that, the Position couple evolved in just one day. They stormed into our house at dinner time, carrying their 5-year-old and an infant. They said they were here to offer our heartfelt apology for yesterday's formal protest and to pay $10,000 in damages. I told them that I would not be connecting with them anymore, and that there was nothing I needed to apologize for. So please leave, but they wouldn't budge. To top it off, the wife bent over with the infant in her arms, covering her face with her hand, tears streaming down, glaring at me.
The husband said, Doesn't your heart ache seeing my wife's brave appearance? How terrifying you are. Now I understand the meaning of being single.
No matter what I said, they somehow only related it to marriage. So I thought of saying, I'd get married next year, but thought better of it.
When I asked them about their threats to bring everyone, their son said, "If you're not going to connect, then forget it."
Normally that would be it, but I can't figure out why they're so fixated on this. With no other option, I called the nearby police station, not 911, but they wouldn't deal with it. Since there's no visible damage, and it's a neighbor dispute, they told me to solve it ourselves. But since they were trespassing, a patrol car came without a sound. Then the wife powered up even more. As soon as she saw the police officer, she cried out, "This woman is terrible, she's bullying us."
The husband also spoke in a highly theatrical and strange tone. If I hit her, I'll be the bad one, but I can't bear it.
My parents and I were stunned, shaking our heads in disbelief.
The police officer who answered the phone came over and kindly explained, "What your child did isn't against the law, but it's a matter of morals. It's your job as parents to teach them that it's shameful."
But they were unfazed. This woman is lying. Look into my eyes. You see what I mean, right? One of them said, clinging to the police officer. Their movements were disgusting, and they even glanced at us.
The police officer calmly asked, "Why would she do that? What's the benefit in her doing something like that?" He continued kindly, "It's late, and this isn't good for your children. Let's go home. If you still want to talk, We have a space at the station where we can discuss this, shall we?
He was gentle through it all, even as he pried the clinging wife off of him and smiled. He then quickly loaded the family into the patrol car and left. Our jaws dropped, and a neighbor who had come out to see the commotion said, "When they get home and the police come back, make sure you're not looking foolish." We hurriedly prepared coffee and waited. In about 20 minutes, the patrol car returned, and the officer apologized. "I'm sorry about earlier. I didn't know it was like that. Please tell me the details." We told him everything that had happened. Then he told us something distressing. Recently, there have been many incidents of people attacking their neighbors for no apparent reason. They even demand apologies and compensation, even if they are wrong. Fortunately, the problem seems to be dying out naturally, but there's still a high risk of it persisting. He told us that all they could do was increase patrols, but they were always ready to respond and the station was nearby. The neighbor might forget and say, "When they get home and the police come back, make sure you're not looking foolish." The neighbor might forget and spread the word tomorrow. We got caught up in some strange trouble. "Just keep your spirits up." We were encouraged. We felt we could rely on the police more than we thought, so we decided to buy a fence, lock, and something that turns on a light when someone stands near it. It was my fault for not taking it seriously, but if Father had set it up properly... "I'm sorry, my daughter." He seemed truly sorry. I also told Mother not to go out alone, and decided to give her a cell phone in case something happened. Later, Father went to the police to get information on crime prevention. The entrance had a fence but no lock, so we replaced it.
We were going to add a light that comes on when someone passes by and a camera, but the police advised against it, saying it might provoke them.
It seems that people with this mindset are better off acting as if nothing has happened. They take it as an attack on themselves. I didn't understand it all, so we decided to continue using the intercom camera. We also prepared for an attack by buying an IC recorder and a cheap movie camera. We also decided to replace our old phone with a model that displays the number and includes a fax. The entire family purchased personal alarms. However, since Mother bought them, the very cute designs are a bit embarrassing. Mother also bought a cell phone and had the shop assistant set it all up. Our neighbor investigated the reputation of the family. There's an apartment complex nearby, and they found out they live in one of the nicer units there. They even took notes on their names. Because it's dangerous, I warned our neighbor, and it turns out the family was somewhat known in the area, so I could easily find information about them. The child has a good reputation, but apparently he doesn't go to preschool or a childcare center. It's not that they missed the deadline, they just gave some nonsensical reason saying it's for the child's sake. I felt a bit sorry for the kid. He must be another victim of that couple. Ever since that incident, I sometimes feel so restless that I want to scream out loud. My husband is still working, so when he's at work, I'm incredibly anxious because I'm left alone with the child. I keep checking up on things via phone or email. I tell myself it's okay since the neighbors and a female police officer are keeping an eye out, but I still feel uneasy. I came back on a plane, but I feel as if I'm in a world just parallel to where I'm meant to be. My son-in-law is still working abroad, so I can't talk to him. I wonder if anyone would believe me if I told them. Just the other day, I got a confirmation call from the pizza place. They said, "A large order has arrived for you. I can't be sure, but it's in my phone book, and I can't think of anyone else but that couple." Since then, we've been able to spend each day safely without any major damage, until the parents of the children who were connected to the PSP came over on Sunday. All the children were between 3rd and 5th grade, and only that child, Liam, was 5 years old. They had connected by chance and had been coming over from time to time. Liam, who was following the elementary school children, wanted to join in and seemed to be checking every day to see if he could connect. I heard that they didn't always connect, so they thought they were just lucky when they did. But Liam was diligently checking and reporting. But when they couldn't connect anymore, Liam quickly gave up. But when Liam's mother found out, she came storming over. On the contrary, I ended up apologizing to the other children's parents, and I felt terrible. Though they did nothing wrong, it was our home setup, that was at fault. I heard from the parents who came over that Liam's family had moved here about 2 years ago, and they immediately noticed something off about their behavior. They didn't send Liam to preschool, and when asked why, they answered with a straight face. "My son is special. If he goes to preschool, he'll become a genius, and others will be jealous. It would be a problem if they harm him." The mother who heard this was scared, yet they usually let him roam free. Liam's mother says that freedom is essential. Of course, Liam is not special. He's just a 5-year-old who wants friends. But without going to preschool or childcare centers, he can't meet children his age. So he tries to mix with the older children, but it's in vain. The neighbors are saying that he should attend school, but they won't listen. Instead, they react with, "You're just jealous and hate my son," and end up isolating themselves. Since a younger sibling was born in the spring, the neglect has worsened, and Liam wanders outside all day with a concerned neighbor taking care of him. But they say he's a good boy. He doesn't complain, says thank you when given lunch, and even helps out. It doesn't even seem like he's trying to be liked. Rumors are that before moving here, his mother was sane, or perhaps his grandparents were around. A little off topic, but the PSP that Liam was given to him by a child from the family that feeds him lunch? Hearing that story, I felt so sad that I couldn't. I thought Liam was the main victim after hearing various stories. He said, "Lately, Mom's just been quiet and I feel lonely," and expressed concern like a caring and gentle child, wondering if something was wrong with her. It seems Liam's father doesn't have a stable job. What kind of position is that? I got a bit angry. Liam's parents were notorious for their aggressive behavior, like parking their car in someone else's space without permission or stealing milk and picking unnecessary fights. Since there have been a few run-ins with the police, it seems the police's attitude changed when they found out I had reported Liam's family. I also mentioned the pizzeria incident, but as it was prevented, they said they couldn't warn them. I wasn't told whether the phone number was displayed, but it seems they are questioning the pizza place. According to the parents who came today, it's a common tactic to order delivery. So many shops in this area apparently double-check the orders. Today, a male police officer in uniform was patrolling by bicycle, I heard. I'm increasing the security level around my house. Most people now know about the commotion last week, so neighborhood patrols have started.
When the parents went to apologize, they were told, "Don't worry, we're patrolling through the Neighborhood Watch program. Anyway."
And it seems there was a bit of a stir when people realized such a program was in place. There were a few silent phone calls at home today. Of course I consulted the police, but since it's only been a few times, I can't file a report. I didn't know A's family's number, and above all, it was hidden, so I couldn't do anything. It seems like only those close to us didn't know, and I was surprised. Liam's parents are clinging to other families too, and I got to meet a wife from one of the targeted households. The reason for the clinging seems to be the husband's high education and their college-aged son. They were forced to tutor Liam and, unbelievably, were asked for the husband's seed. The police were consulted for stalking, and Liam's mother was warned. They quieted down after that, but someone mentioned my education, and the parents attacked again. I graduated from a certain science university, and later from a university in another country. Then I was able to return to my alma mater as a researcher, and came back to my country. My husband-to-be is a foreigner, and the paperwork is quite cumbersome, so it's progressing slowly. Liam's mother, learning this, attacked our home.
Why didn't you tell us about such a background when we met? My husband is a Westerner. What a wonderful timing.
That's what she really said.
It's better for the world if you two serve us as a couple instead of getting married. You create a family and I'll bear even better children with a Westerner.
Here, Liam's mother said something terrible, implying Liam was a failure, even though he was there. He's interested in games and TV and looks awful, wants to play with worldly children, wants to hit things. She kept saying things that made it hard for me to stay calm. The spouse swap is temporary, and we'll return to normal life once we have a gifted child, and we'll take both children. In exchange, we'll give you Liam and his little brother. It was so shocking, I felt like my eyes were about to pop out and my jaw was about to drop. I was nearly losing my hair. The newly delivered car was apparently necessary for raising the children, so they insisted that the title be transferred to my name. All the while we were talking, Liam's father kept grinning at me, making me feel sick. In the midst of this, Liam's mother became frenzied, shouting that she would take the house and everyone should leave. She told me she would let us have children and slapped me, yelling, "Don't you dare make eyes at my husband." She then threw Liam's little brother, who had been on her back, onto the front porch, making him cry from the shock and pain. I watched Liam console him desperately, while my own mother began to cry. My father, unable to comprehend the madness, shouted for them to leave, becoming panic-stricken. In the midst of this, Liam's mother became frenzied again, shouting the same things and slapping me again. A police officer arrived due to the commotion, and when told that we would need to continue this at the station.
Liam's mother started screaming and crying, claiming, "We're gonna be killed by these people."
But her pleas were ignored, and she was forcibly taken to the police car. We also wanted to talk in detail, and said that we wanted to press charges, so we were allowed to go to the nearby police station. Inside the police station, Liam's mother continued to eagerly tell her story, and Liam's father oddly seemed to agree, saying it was for the future of Japan. The police seemed to agree that this couple was beyond help. The children were temporarily taken to Child Protective Services, and we were informed they would probably be sent to a facility. Knowing that the siblings would be separated brought tears to my eyes, and I felt heartbroken. I couldn't help but regret how this all could have been avoided if I had only reset the Wi-Fi, and I wouldn't have subjected these children to such a horrible experience. That day, we gave our statements and returned home, unable to actually file a complaint. The next day, both my father and I took off work to go to the police station. My mother was bedridden from worry for the children, so a neighbor came to watch over her. At the police station, we were informed that the children were eating and sleeping well and appeared healthy, and also that the parents are being seen by a doctor, so it seems that pressing charges will be dropped. We were grimly considering our options, but were sternly told that moving the children back to their parents, or sending the couple away, wouldn't lead to happiness for the children. It would be appropriate to say what the couple did was not just child abandonment but akin to child murder. Their abnormal obsession with us also indicated that they should no longer participate in social life. We were reprimanded when told that the couple would also be placed in a facility, and suddenly showed sympathy. At the same time, we were told that feeling sorry for them wasn't quite right, but neither my father nor I could agree or understand. Of course, we were furious. We had endured strange proposals, being hit, stepped on, and harshly ridiculed about our appearance. However, the fact that we couldn't legally tell them how we felt was frustrating.
On the way home, my father suggested moving, and I agreed.
Our house was old but sat on a considerable piece of land, so we decided to sell it and look for a place closer to my workplace. My son-in-law has come over now, and he's angry at the situation that doesn't make sense to him in any country, but he's feeling down, thinking there's nothing he can do if he's mentally worn out. However, he seems to understand that it's good for the children, and he was saying that they'll surely encounter a better environment, and that it was fortunate that this happened before they started school. The neighbors also seem to have mixed feelings, going around and apologizing for what happened so soon after the New Year celebrations. Everyone was uniformly sympathetic. It's sad to move and say goodbye to our next-door neighbors, but since we were so close to them and spent a lot of time together, they told us they might move because it's becoming uncomfortable. Our next-door neighbor's daughter is getting married, so they seem to have thought that this is an opportunity. While everything is not over yet, I think I'll face forward and do my best. In just over a month, my hair has turned completely white. Maybe I'll take this opportunity to try dyeing it a bright color.